What's going on, guys? So for today's video, I have an FNCS solo invitational finals that was hosted a couple of days ago, and I'm going to be running through all the games that I played and what happened and what I could have fixed and all that, because this is part of my transition video from keyboard and mouse to controller. So far I have 1 month into controller. For the past two videos I made a arena video of me playing on controller, getting to 6,000 arena points, and the first video that I made for my transition was a 7-day transition where I went day by day of how I was improving building, editing, and my gameplay in arena and public matches. Keep in mind, guys, that this is the first tournament on controllers, so you guys will see that I'm a bit messy with the builds, but I don't think I did too bad. I ended off with 154 points. I would say that's above average, and I'm pretty proud of my performance. So I'm going to be walking you guys through all the games that I played. So before we begin, make sure you guys like the video and comment down below a suggestion of what you guys would like to see in my progression from controller, any type of gameplay, any type of tips. If you guys want to follow along my journey, make sure you guys subscribe, and let's begin. So for game one, my drop spot is craggy, and I always aim for the houses where I landed in the beginning. This is where I land, and the houses around, because this is where the best loot comes around. But I did not see this guy go to the White House, so I decided to actually go to White House where I could get max shield because of the slurp barrels. And I saw that there was one person contesting. I didn't need to fight off spawn, because for these type of matches you always want to go for placement points, especially with the new format with placement points and kills. I would say placement and a couple of kills, but for the most part you always want to be playing for placement in this solo invitational. So I decided to actually loot up this place, loot up craggy, and go along my way. Make sure I rotate zone as quickly as possible. I didn't run along into many people, which is really good, because if you do run along to some people just want to fight, and that could just cost you your game. But fortunately I did not run into a lot of people, and I could safely rotate, play my end game, and I was really just chilling in zone. So for this part I needed mats, I needed a kill, I needed a map refresh, because I was pretty low in health. As you guys see, I basically needed something going. So I saw that I had a launch pad. That's something I needed to use, because I definitely needed to not utilize all my mats, because of course I had low mats. Surprisingly for this game, I thought that there would be more people end game, more people in moving zone, but there wasn't, and I felt pretty confident. I went down, I wasted a bit of mats, maybe like 100 mats, which was sloppy builds by me. Like I said, guys, this is my first ever tournament that I played, and after switching to controller, and I was pretty messy with the builds. I could say I was kind of nervous because I wasn't really confident in myself compared to when I was on keyboard and mouse. But I died off in 15th place. I was 9 points. I had to keep my composure, and we're gonna go on to game 2. So something that people actually ask me is, how do you get a drop spot going? What's the best drop spot in the game? And that's something for you to figure out. Before playing this tournament, I was always landing craggy. This was my main spot for any type of tournament, so I would land here because I was comfortable. I knew the loot paths, I knew where every chest was. So if you guys want a best drop spot, you really just gotta learn the drop spot. You really just gotta test it out and test out which drop spot feels more comfortable for you. There's actually a website called Loot Lake Map, something like that, and it would show you guys where every chest is, where every boat is, anything around. And that's something that I did study for craggy. But there was one person contesting me at craggy, so if I would get an opportunity, especially how I got the golden scar, I would try to go for the kill, because I would think that he would not have as good loot, because there's about maybe 3 chests at that big White House. So I decided to try to look for a pick and try to look for this guy, and luckily I did get some couple of shots on him. I tagged him quite a bit, and I just had to pressure him because he was pretty weak. I would not expect him to probably have shield as well, so I was just fighting this. I was box fighting him. I made him even more weak, and luckily I did win the fight, and for every kill I get, it would be 4 points, so that's huge, especially in the beginning. So for the next engagement, I did run into someone using the boat. He was white HP. I decided to push him, because who isn't going to push someone that you tag a little bit, especially with a good loadout, especially how I had the scar. I had to pressure him. I did a little bit more damage in this engagement that I had with him, but I could not finish the fight. He got away, and like I mentioned before, I'm 1 month into controller. Still getting used to box fighting people. I'm still getting used to building up and getting a angle on them. Even though people could say that aim assist is really OP, I would say the challenging part is the building aspect to controller, because you basically just need to get to new binds, and that takes a little bit of time. So after I couldn't get the kill, I launch padded out, and I waited for the guy, because if I could have got some hits while he was gliding in, that would have been perfect. I would have probably got the kill, especially out with a scar, but he did not come in gliding. He actually came through walking from Risky, and I did box fight him and I actually got the kill. So something else to mention is that for these first games, there's not going to be too many good players compared to what you get in the future lobbies if you get more points, because you're going to be matched with better players. And I wanted to try to get as many kills as I can because I was thinking that I was in a not so decent game, not so good players, and I just went for kills. I had a heavy, I could get in people's boxes and come up close. Linear is the best thing for getting up close and personal in people's boxes, so getting in a heavy and using my scar or my shotgun, I would probably end up with the kill. So after half and half zone, I did not get the zone. I mean, it was pretty close to me, but I was still shambles mats. I wasted quite a bit of mats that I really didn't need to, and I think that's what made this unfortunate death happen. And while I was trying to rotate in, I was left with no mats at the end, and I was in the open. There was tons of people shooting me across the map, and they got the free kill. So that was my second game. So for game 3, I ran into someone in the beginning of the match, tried to get those elim points, especially how they were 4 points, like mentioned before, and I almost died at some point, but I luckily did get that one tag kill. I did not expect getting that kill. I thought it was dead when I couldn't place that wall because one part of the wall was his and I tried placing it. So luckily I did run out with that kill. Mistakes that do happen when I'm on controller is that when I'm switching slots, I would go into the wrong slot and it would cost me to get killed, because that's something I'm still getting used to as well. Still getting used to figuring out which slots I gotta go to when I'm switching over to guns. So luckily I did not get killed there. So for endgame, I was looking pretty good. I found a launch pad at some point that I could reuse because I had to go across pretty far. Especially I was low mats, I rotated in with that launch pad. So I did find an engagement in endgame, and I found someone that could have got me a lot of mats, and I did find him later on, but I couldn't finish out the engagement early. I had to find him later on, where after I couldn't find his mats, there was a couple people left. I was pretty confident that I could have done good. I got a shot from someone that was coming up from storm. I was rotating in with some mats. I just need to keep on pathing in. I just need to play my game. I made a little mistake by editing not too well there. I had the floppers. I realized that later on that I had the floppers, and then someone else pushed me in the storm. I do not know why. I don't know if this guy had no mats, probably didn't, but unfortunately I do die there, and that was my third game. So I can't stress this enough, you do need some early game kills. You do need that off spawn kill, because once again, 4 points is really huge for your start. It could definitely be a confidence booster for some people, and you would feel pretty confident going into the end game. So getting those off spawn kills, once again, I like mentioned it already a ton of times, getting those are really important. If you don't get it, it's fine, because you can get end game kills. So after getting that spawn kill, I did rotate in pretty late because I want to get all the chests at my spawn, because especially out Craigie has a good amount of chests. And something that you guys should know is that you always want to be rotating in from the dead side of the map, a place where there's not really POIs, people that are rotating in to zone from. And I went west because there wasn't a lot of POIs, and that's where I decided to rotate in. And as you guys can see, there wasn't a lot of people around. There was some people fighting, but I just stayed around this part of the map, especially how I got zoned. And I stayed in here for a couple of minutes. I tried to just wait it out, wait for someone to pop out somewhere at some point where they had to rotate in from where I was going. And that's exactly what happened. I ran into someone else that was coming into storm, and I got a couple of tags on him. I decided to push that because that could have been a really good mat refresh and could have got me better loot. So I did win out the fight. So for this end game, I had a launch pad, I had a couple of mats. I think I run into too many situations where I do run out of mats and not get that mat refresh that I need. And for these games, that's what would end up killing me. So that's something that I definitely noted and something that I definitely should work on. So I did run into someone that was coming at a storm. I got the kill. I probably should have looted him more. I got my HP pretty good, but I did not have shield, so I was pretty panicking. And then I ran into someone that had a wall right next to me, and I did die there. For game 5, I ran into someone that was based up at Hilltop House. I was trying to sneak in, tried to get that cheeky pick, but I did not. And I'm pretty sure I blew up my cover after walking for a bit. And he heard me. I had to box up, had to box fight him, and these are the type of situations that I didn't want to get into. But after fighting him for a couple of seconds, I knew he was a pretty good player, and he took my wall, and unfortunately I did die this game. So for game 6, I did die out of spawn, and these are the type of games that you don't want, because these are the type of games that will get you frustrated because you wouldn't get many points. And especially how I was on game 6, I had 3 more matches left after this one, so I was definitely in that type of situation where my mindset was kind of like, what should I do? Should I land somewhere else? Something like that. But I just kept on landing Craggy after. But I did get 2 kills in the beginning of this match before I got killed. So for the third guy, I did make an edit misplay. I could have easily killed this guy, but I just couldn't get that window edit. That window edit could have easily killed him, and I made the mistake of going away in his builds, and I couldn't place anything, so that's what got me killed by this guy. So for game 7, I did die 2 games in a row, and I didn't get many points from that. So for this point, I wanted to leave Craggy, but I saw someone actually coming up where he didn't notice me, and I got a couple of tags on him. I decided to push him, and throughout this box fight, it actually got me 4 kills because people are coming from different directions, and they just came out of nowhere. And this is where definitely controller helps out. I just kept on making sure they got on my box, and I could easily tag him because I had a blue tag. A blue tag does a good amount of damage, especially if you do a headshot. But I just box fought those guys for a good majority of this game, and I did end up with 4 kills. After engagement, I was set with loot and mats, and I was ready for endgame, and I was really confident. I was thinking that I could actually win this game because with the loot I had a scar, I had a blue tag, I had a heavy sniper. Heavy sniper, once again, that's one of the best guns that you can get, especially in this meta, or the mythic guns. I was taking my time rotating. I was using a building that I could refresh mats off. I could just keep on farming and make sure I can just keep on rotating with those mats that I kept on using from the building. After launch padding, I definitely needed shield. I only had 4 flappers. That's still good, but you definitely want shield at these type of times. I just kept on looking for picks. Any picks that people are coming from storm into circle, and something very unfortunate happened while I was rotating into next zone. I ran into someone else's box. I got the kill, but someone else just randomly came in and just W keyed me. I'm pretty sure he was controller as well, so he might as well get that kill, and then he died too. So game 8, I have 2 more matches left. I had to make these ones count. I had to play out endgame because I was at 126 points. People were saying that 200 was to qualify, so there was 2 sessions. I had to do good this session with a good amount of points, and then I had to do good session 2 with a good amount of points, which was 200 once again. Going into endgame, I had a blue AR, I had a gray pump shotgun. That's one of the worst shotguns you can get, so I was not really confident going into endgame, but I did have some shield, so I could definitely take some hits while rotating and use the heals that I had, the 6 minis and the 2 big pots. And for this game as well, I found a building at Slurpee. I wanted to mat refresh this. I wanted to reuse the mats that I could get from this because, once again, using a building and just getting mats that you could rotate in with without spending any is definitely important, and that's exactly what I did. Something that I was thinking throughout this match was that I needed a harpoon. I didn't get any harpoons really from Craggy when I could have easily got one. Getting a harpoon and using it is definitely really good, especially endgame where you can just pick up mats that people died from and just keep on rotating in with those mats. So there wasn't too many people endgame. I was rotating in, and at this point this is where I really needed to rotate. I was really close to zone, and I didn't check anywhere around me. You guys will see that I actually died to storm because I made the misplay of just taking my time, breaking through builds, and I could have easily just gone to the left, made my own builds and used my own tarp and got on my own layers. So unfortunately I do die there. I made a new play, and that's what costed me game 8. So I landed at the mountains where you can get a heavy sniper from. I was getting desperate for kills because I was at low points and I definitely needed a couple of kills before getting into endgame, and there wasn't a lot of time. I don't think I could have got 2 matches in. So I ran into a second guy and I tried to heavy sniper, and I was so close to getting this kill. After I died, I was pretty furious because he was pretty low HP and I knew I could have got the kill. I knew one more AR shot could have killed him, but I do die there, and I was going into my last game. So for the last game, I decided to land at an island where it was known for a lot of fish. This is actually where assault lands for solos, and you could actually come out with 8 fishes, and that's exactly what I did. I came out with 7 fishes, but you still come out with a lot of fish. Fishes are really important because you don't want to waste mats, and you can just sit in zone, keep on using the fishes without getting shot at, and that's what I tried to do with fishes that I had for endgame. So for this endgame, it was going to be pretty stacked because there was like no minutes left. It was the last match for a lot of people, and I had to play this one out. I had to play endgame. Throughout this tournament, I was actually hoping for every game to be a good amount of players endgame, but it did turn out to be like a cash cup because there wasn't a lot of people left. And endgame, as you guys can see from the past matches that I reviewed, that's pretty unfortunate. I wanted to be at like World Cup round 2 if you guys played in that, and that's where it was pretty fun. There was a lot of people endgame, there was a lot of people rotating in without playing dumb, but I'm expecting a stacked endgame when the next round of solo invitationals, the people that are actually invited for week 1, that's going to be probably better players that are going to be playing endgame. So at this point, I had to rotate in zone really far. I had a jump pad. There was a guy below me, there was a guy to my right. I really wanted to rotate to my right, but the guy wasn't moving there, so I just had to wait it out, see what these guys were going to do. I'm pretty sure the guy below me used the launch pad too while I used mine, so that was pretty unfortunate because I could have reused his. And something that I did do a cheeky play on is just land in this guy's box and just pump him because I had the controller, so I was pretty confident up close, like I said. So I got the kill from there. I got a couple of mats. I was like, this is my last game. I really needed to pop off and get a good amount of points this game, so I ran into someone that was coming in for loot into zone, and I got that kill too as well. I was rotating in, not spending too much mats, but a mistake I did make was use metal instead of wood, probably because I don't think anyone would have shot me if I used wood. It didn't seem like anyone was shooting me, so if I ran away with using wood instead of metal there, that could have definitely helped out next zone. So for this zone, I got in it pretty early. I was looking around for any picks. I probably could have looked around in better angles where there was people running in, but I did make the unfortunate play as well of getting into someone's box, getting into other people's builds, and I did die to one pump right there. I could have easily just gone up and just made my own layer, but I decided for some reason get into someone else's layer and just get into other people's builds and tried to break out when I had plenty of mats. But overall, the format was pretty weird for the tournament. People on Twitter were talking about how kills was very dependent for this tournament, and like mentioned before, there wasn't a lot of people endgame, so people were just running out other people trying to get as many kills as they can before they actually went into endgame with a win, because with a couple of kills and a win, that could have got a lot of points and got you up in the leaderboard. I ended off with 154 points. I was 1 month into controller, brand new at it. I guess I was pretty happy with the performance. I was playing against pretty good people this FNCS solo invitational because people really wanted to get into week 1 where the better players were playing in, so everyone was going to play in this. And in the future, I do hope to play good and show you guys more of my progression with controller, especially how I'm 1 month in and I could be better in a couple of months as well. So hopefully you guys did enjoy.